All right. Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody is doing great. Well, I should say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, all that good stuff. Hope everyone is having a fantastic day. Thank you for joining me for the Power Hour, and this will be the final Power Hour of 2021. All right. Not the final Power Hour ever. As I was saying that, I was like, I probably ought to clarify this is not the final Power Hour, the final Power Hour of this year. All right. And we're on a bit of an awkward schedule right now because it's holidays. And normally I have these on the first Saturday of the month. But because of I had some things going on last weekend, I had to move it. And then next month, we're going to be on the second Saturday because of the new year, because January 1st happens to fall on a Saturday this year. So I may look into moving these to a time where it's not going to be weird around the holidays. So I don't know if that's like the second Saturday of the month or the third. I'll figure that out. And if I change it, I'll make sure that I publicize that widely. Because one of the things I want to improve next year is just making sure that everybody knows when the power hours are going to be. All right. Because I know that's some feedback you all have given me. All right. So everyone is doing great. It looks like got some people working on novels, homework assignments, some folks tuning in from work. So we're looking pretty good today. Now, before we continue, I just want to let everybody know, because if I don't say something, somebody's going to say, why didn't you say anything? I'm going to change my screen here just real quick. I want to let everybody know that Beast Mode Collection 2021 is now available. All right. So you can go to authorlevelup.com/beast mode. It's all of the writing books that I wrote this year. I did not include the novels, unfortunately. Those are still in KDP Select, but the eight writing books all in one will be here. This will be available until January 3rd, I believe, is the date. So January 3rd, this collection will go away forever. And as this is the second year I'm doing this, to kind of sweeten the pot a little bit, anyone who buys Beast Mode Collection 2021 from me directly on my website will be entered into a raffle for a 30-minute chat with me. And I'm gonna give away two 30-minute chats for one 30-minute chat for two lucky people. All right. So if you buy Beast Mode Collection 2021 from my site directly, or if you buy any of the individual Beast Mode books, you will also be entered into the raffle. If you have purchased any of the Beast Mode books 2021 in the past, you are also automatically going to be entered into the raffle. So I don't want to leave anybody out. All right. So January 3rd, on or about the 4th, I'll notify the winners. And just like last year, we can hop on a call, and I'm happy to listen to any issues that you've got on your mind. If I can help in any way, I would be happy to do that, or try to point you toward a resource that may be able to help you. So kind of my way of giving back, and as thank you for having such a wonderful year of great power hours, and you guys sticking with me for Beast Mode. So just something I want to show, because somebody did have a question. This is at authorlevelup.com/beast mode. If you click on this button here, this green button, this will add it to your cart. So if I go here, you can see on the top right here, it adds it to your cart, and then you can check out. You can also add any other books that you would like. Now, the one thing I also want to let people know, and I won't talk about this too much longer, but through the end of the year, I have a special coupon for holidays. You can get 30% off any book in my store that you buy from me directly. So this includes a Beast Mode collection. It includes any other books that you may want to buy from me directly. Just use the code THANKYOU at checkout, and I'll put that in the chats and in the comments. So thank you in all caps. All right. And I do have a store as well if people are interested. This is at authorlevelup.com/store. Finally got around to getting all my books loaded into a storefront. So this will just make it a little bit easier for people to buy books if they're interested. All right. So that is the public service announcement for the day. Let's take a look at every at comments that have come in here. All right. All right, Gwendolyn, good morning. If anyone is new, please let me know that you're new. I will be sure to answer those questions here. Yeah, if you're new, I always like to call out new people, and I just like to know if I need to go over the rules. Because inevitably, you guys know, there's going to be some person. What is he doing? This is like watching paint dry. Why is he typing. All right. So first question, I'll answer one question, and then we'll get into the timer here. Krish asks, any tips on choosing setting for fight scenes in urban fantasy? I mean, if fantastical and supernatural powers are involved, I can't set it in main areas. Sure, you can. You can. You just have to decide whether the magic is hidden or whether it's not hidden. If it's hidden and regular people aren't supposed to know about it, then you probably have to have it at night, right? But if magic is known in the world, then I think you can have your fight scenes anywhere. It's just a matter of what the consequences are after the fight's over. So I think your only limit is your imagination. All right. So it is that time, folks. I got a timer up on the screen. I'm not going to run it just yet. But for anyone who might happen to be new, any of our bashful folks here, I'm going to set a timer for 20 minutes. We are going to write like our lives depend on it. And at the end of that 20 minutes, I'm going to come back with a 5-minute timer. I'm going to answer any of your writing questions that you may have. We're going to share our progress, have some fun, shoot the breeze. You all know how it goes. All right, so I'm going to set the timer. Anybody who comes in the comments and asks what's going on, what is he doing, I hope you all got me covered. All right, so timer is on. Hope you all are doing great on your novels and or your work in progress, and let's get it. All right, everybody, about T-minus 3 minutes until we come back. All right, everybody. It is the end of our first session. So turn the timer off and put this timer on. So I'm going to talk for a minute, but let me know how you did. So I want to know what your word counts were for the session. So I am writing book 4 in my Good Necromancer series. So I am about 11,000 words into the book now. So I think I'm about, I don't know what the percentage is there. They're usually about 50,000 words. This one's been going a little bit slower than usual, but I've had a lot of things going on. And so I've had some pretty good days the last few days. And so I'm hoping to have a good day today. So I think I did about 300 words. But I was in the middle of a looping session. All right. Yeah, I'm trying to finish this novel by the end of this year. So I think finishing a novel by the end of the year, I think is a good. It's a good way to cap the year. Like, it kind of sucks to go into the next year still working on another novel. That's just me. That's because I write pretty fast. But yeah, Good Necromancer book 4. I'm in the process of getting new covers for that series. I think I made some mistakes with the first 3 books, and so I'm going to be going a different route. And I'm playing around with putting these under my Michael Laron name. I'm not sure yet. These are a little bit darker than my other novels. So let's see. All right, so things have come in here. Nicholas, 509 words editing. Nice job. A. Anderson, 507. All right. Pierre Andre, 671. All right. Vamp Bat, 410. Ty. It says book 4. I need to catch up on that series. Yeah. It's I released book 2 and 3 right around the same time. So I'm looking forward to. I'm actually sending it wide later this month. So I'm not going to play in the KDP Select pool anymore. All right, Stephanie, 552. Up, Down, Junkie, 512. Nicholas, I really want to be done this year. Hey, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. All right. Mr. Tree, 259. Don't forget, I'm happy to answer any writing questions that you have. So as they come in, I will answer those as well. All right. Retha, I hope I'm saying your name correctly. 164 words, lots of thinking and planning. 164 words is not a bad number. In fact, if you think about your novel, you probably could write your novel in 160, 170, 200 word sections, and it's all good. So that's actually a pretty good number to have. All right, Ty, 160 words, like I said. Not a bad start. I have a few chapters that aren't quite clicking. All right, well, you'll get there. All right, Alexander. You are at 11K and still finish until the end of the year. What's your weekly word goal? Well, that's a good question. I have a quota that I try to hit every day, and that's typically around 2,000 words, give or take a few hundred. If I get to the end of the day and I'm at 1,800, I'll try to get 2,000, but if I can get 2,000 or better per day, I'm usually having a pretty good day. Most days when I'm really on fire, I'm doing well over 2,000. There's some days though where maybe I'm starting a novel and I'm less than that. But I try to do 2,000 words a day and 1,000 words on Sunday. All right, so I don't know what the math is on that. I have to think about that for a second. we're writers, guys. We're not mathematicians. So yeah, 13,000 words per week is what I try to do. I don't always hit that. I tend to be inconsistent sometimes in what I do, but the one thing I'm always writing though. Like most days, I'm usually writing. The only time I didn't do any writing this year was back in October. I had just finished Beast Mode, so I had a lot of cleanup to do and books to get ready for publication, and I was working on some other projects, so I didn't write for most of the month in November. But for the most part, throughout the rest of this year, I was writing every day. And I think I'm on track. If I finish this current book, I'll be 16 books for the year. So, it all evens out at the end of the year. All right. Writer goals. Finish books by end of year. Yeah, I want to know that's thank you for hashtagging that. What are your 2022 goals, everybody? I would love to know. We can talk about that. We can hit that today. What everyone's goals are and kind of what you're gunning for. All right. Title, 106 words. First time here. Well, hey, welcome. Glad to have you here in the Power Hour. All right. Let's see. Ty asks, do you have a question on BookFunnel or a video on BookFunnel? I do not. It's funny you mentioned that, Ty, because I was on a call with Damon, the owner of BookFunnel earlier this year, and I told him I would do a video on BookFunnel. So that's it's near the top of my list. So probably sometime in 2022, I'll be hitting BookFunnel. I'll be doing like an ultimate BookFunnel review. Highly recommend BookFunnel. They are a great service. All right, let's see. Oh, okay, Carried. Finish my 2022 goals. Finish my writing app. Awesome. Aiming to have a beta by NaNoWriMo. Very, very cool. Do tell, Carried, if there's any details you can share about what it's going to look like or kind of what you're going for. I think there's a lot of people here who would dig it. And I'll do a video on it when it's ready. All right. Wanjiru, when you go wide, how do you publicize your books, particularly the links? Yeah. Oh, it's a good question. I probably don't do as much as I should to publicize. Honestly, what I do, and this is probably, is one of those do as I say, not as I do kind of things. I just publish the book and then I go start writing the next book. I really don't pay that much attention. I mean, I have, like when I launched these in KDP Select, I did email my list and I let them know the books were out there. A lot of my Michael Laran fans are not crazy about the Good Necromancer series. It's a little dark compared to some of the other stuff I've written in previous years. And they're also not that crazy about my Rat Shifter series. Like I've definitely taken a darker turn over the last few years. But yeah, I email my list. That's the first thing. And usually what I'll do is I will include links to everywhere where the book is published. So I'll include a link to Kobo, to Barnes and Noble, Apple, and Amazon. So that people can do it. One thing I probably should do at some point that I have not done is I probably need to be better about segmenting my list. So I need to figure out like which readers are Kobo readers, which readers are Amazon readers, which readers are Apple readers, and all that stuff. But that just takes a lot of work and it's a lot of maintenance. But if I were to do it probably the right way, kind of the by the book way, what I would do is I would send out an email targeted to Kobo readers with a Kobo link. And then I would send out another one to Apple, assuming I had a lot of people on that list. So that way they're seeing just that targeted link. And then I'll also probably share it on social media. But that's really it. I might throw some more ads at it, but that's really it. I'm kind of a bad example. But if you're interested, check out MK Williams' book. MK wrote a book on going wide. She just published it, and apparently it's doing really, really well. So she is definitely a good expert on that. All right, Up Down Junkie, finished my sequel. It's slow going. The first one went so fast. Yes, indeed. All right, I'll get one more comment, and then we'll get into our next session, and then I'll hold some of the questions and comments until then. Let's see here. Let's see. Okay, have to spotlight this here. Find happiness in life, live a little bit more healthier, and write down at least one book of the ideas I have before I kick the bucket. That's my goal. Love that. It's comment of the power hour here. Yep, that's our goal, right? Write as many books or follow our dreams and die empty. At least that's my dream. If I could just die with no ideas in my head, because you never know when that bucket's coming. That floating bucket is just coming around. And it's going to make you kick it. Terrible pun, but all right. Oh, hey Alexander, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Pair character bowing down saying thank you. I can see that in my head. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it. All right. So with that, everybody, why don't we jump into our next session here? And a quick reminder, I will get to every question. I always commit, and I'm going to stop the timer here. I always commit to answering all your questions. So I saw some comments and stuff come in. I will flag those and make sure I address those at the next break, but I want to make sure we get the writing time in. All right, so it is 10:36 a.m. right now. I got the timer set. We'll come back about 10:56 a.m. Central Time, and good luck. All right, gang, T-minus 3 minutes and we'll be back. All right, I spaced out there for a second. All right. How did everybody do? I want to know. Let me know what your word counts were. We had some comments that came in, and I just want to address those. First off, huge thank you to Ty for the super sticker. I appreciate that. Pair character jumping up and down and saying #1 fan. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And huge thank you as well to Up Down Junkie. I also appreciate it with the red cap and smile on his face. You know, it's weird. I can't actually see the GIF when you do the super sticker, so I can see it in my head. But thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. All right, let's take a look at some of these comments that came in here. Analos, I hope I said your name correctly. I want to be able to write the way I could before I had long COVID issues at some point. Well, I hope you're feeling better, and I hope that certainly you take the time you need to take care of yourself. But I hope you can get there too. Your health is definitely way more important. So I'm glad you're here, though. All right, Wylan. Goal for 2022 is to finish and publish my first book, get a website set up, and get hopefully at least two more books finished. Oh, that's totally doable. Totally doable. I mean, you've already made progress on your first book. The website's really not that hard. It's just making sure you make the right decisions on it. So I'm curious what people think. Would you be interested if I did like a WordPress, like how to set your WordPress up? I don't know, maybe like a 20-30 minute video, maybe a little bit longer than that. Let me know what everybody thinks, because I'm getting these questions a lot about WordPress, and I think that people sometimes think it's complicated, but it's not hard. The hardest part, I think, about your goals is getting the books done, but I think you got it handled. All right, let's see here. All right, E.W. Norwood, start and publish my second novel. Very, very nice. Very nice. All right, Anna, goal is to publish my first book mid-2022. All right. I love it when people publish their first books. That's because you only publish your first book once. It's really good stuff. All right, Retha, published my lit RPG novel in time for next year's Christmas. Yeah, well, the good thing about it is that you can figure out what your marketing plan is going to be. You can kind of figure out holiday giveaways and things like that. I always feel like I'm slow on the uptake with that. Like, I feel like the holidays sneak up on me every year, and yeah, I need to be better about that. All right, Ty says liking both series for Rat Shifter and Book 2 Necromancer. Yeah, it's funny when I sent out an email to my list to let them know about the good Necromancer, like multiple people. I mean, it was a fair number of people reached out to me and said, yeah, this just looks too dark. I don't know what, maybe those were just outliers, but I had some people leave my list over that book, believe it or not. So I've been a little careful about it. All right. Wyland has read the Rat Shifter series and starting on Good Necromancer. Appreciate it. All right. Just kind of clear out some of these comments that came in before our break here. Human Yuhu says 2022 goal, finish manuscript and be editing that by the end of the year and have projects organized and prepared for 2023. Yeah, that's good long-term thinking there. That's good stuff. All right. Olkesh, goals to have 5 short stories beta read and submitted to magazines. Okay. 3 currently in submission. Nice. Yeah, that's easily doable. All right. And RZLK, goals to finish 4 books in a series and then writing and releasing 2 of them. Very, very nice. All right, let's see the comments that came in here since then. All right, let's see. And apologies if I missed any comments here. Wyland, am I the only one who tries to figure out what Michael is thinking during these bits? I was going to make some witty joke. I was going to say, I'll give you a quarter if you could figure it out. But yeah, I'm writing a scene right now where my main character, Lester, he's in the spirit world and something is not right in the spirit world. And so I'm trying to figure out what is not right because he goes to the spirit world every book in this series. It's kind of one of the staples, like Good Necromancer, Lester is going to go to the spirit world to get something. And now he's something is not right. I need to figure out what that is. All right. Let's see. Carried, when Michael thinks about food, I suspect he thinks about militarized anthropomorphic broccoli. You are not wrong about that. You are not wrong about that. Okay, let's see. A lot of comments coming in, so it's taken me a minute here. Let's see. Pierre Andre, why is there sometimes double spaces in books? Is it an error? No, it's probably because somebody's operating under the assumption that gets taught by English teachers that you need double spaces in your books. I think they look terrible in ebooks, and they look even worse in paperbacks. Yeah, that's just somebody that probably doesn't know better. Probably are typos here and there, probably errors, but if you see them a lot more often, then that's probably what that is. Let's see. Okay, now I'm actually getting to the words. All right, Pierre Andre 815, Nicholas 263, Anelos 103 because I was distracted by these nice people. Yes, indeed. All right, Up Down 420, Retha 206, Let's see. Tim, only 382, but that's okay. You got some distractions going on. Stephanie, 561. Didn't know how I did that because I got interrupted by a kid. Yes, writing sessions are not writing sessions unless they get interrupted in some form or fashion. All right, up down. Would love a WordPress video. Okay. I will. I'll add that to my list. A video on website author essentials. Author website essentials. Yeah. It's different for everybody, but I think the fundamentals are the same. And the cool thing about websites is the advice really hasn't changed since 2014. I mean, it some of the tools are different, but the advice is still pretty sound. All right. Wanjiru, 2022 goals to finish and publish the second book. All right, that you're working on. Okay, Tammy, very interested in the author website. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's good good to get some ideas from this group. I can kind of float ideas. All right. So, okay, Krish, any tips for choosing locations for the fight scenes of I answered that previously for you, Krish. Let's see here. Okay. And Ty says actually use Wix for your website. Okay, cool. I don't have much experience with Wix. I'm a WordPress guy, but I've heard good things about Wix as well. All right, so it is that time, folks. Let's get the final timer on the screen, and it is approximately 11:04 a.m. So we'll come back at about 11:24, and I'll stay on and answer any questions that you have, and we can talk about 2022 goals. I'll talk about maybe some of my 2022 goals as well. All right, so let's get it. Alrighty, everybody, about 3 minutes left, 3.5-ish minutes left before we come back. All right, everybody. How did you do? I want to know what your word count is for um, this session and then your word count total. So I'm sitting at about 1,200 words for the day. I'm a little slower than usual, but I'm at a section where I'm not quite sure what's going to happen, so I'm just proceeding carefully. But this should definitely help me hit my 2,000 word quota for the day. I might even be a little bit better than that, to be honest with you, which is good because I'm sitting at about 12,500 words right now for the manuscript. So usually my Good Necromancer novels are about 50,000 right on the dot. So making progress. All right. So I'll let you all let me know how things are going. And then I'll answer questions that came in and we can just kind of shoot the breeze for a little bit. All right. A question came in from the composer's piano. I was writing my novel, and approximately as I hit 45K, I came to the horrible realization that I can't write it. Is there any way I can force my brain to write the novel? So I would counter your question with a question. Why do you, like, what happened that made you feel like you couldn't write it? That's what I would want to know. That's what you need to figure out. Was it because you feel like you can't do it? Is it because you feel like there's no audience for it? Was there a issue with one of the characters? Did you find out at the 11th hour that somebody else wrote a plot that was almost identical to yours? I mean, I think you need to figure that out. And assuming there's no like legal issues that prevent you from writing it, I think you have to figure that out and wrestle with that. Most people when they tell me this, I mean, it sounds like fear. I mean, you're 45K in. I don't know how long your novel's going to be, but I mean, if it's 50,000, you're damn near there. I wouldn't stop at this point. I mean, you've got a lot invested at this point to kind of give up on it. But again, that's just me. I'm of the opinion that I like to finish what I start. There's very, very few books that I've ever started that I did not finish. And so I would just encourage you that if it's fear or anything that I mentioned, how do you force your brain to write the novel? I think you have to confront the fear. That's one of the hardest things about this job is there's all sorts of mental roadblocks that pop up. And what's really tricky about it is that they pop up and sometimes you don't know that they popped up, and you have to kind of figure out the root cause. Again, I'm a fan of figuring out what the root cause of things are, because I mean, I can give you advice all day about what I would do, but it sounds like the root cause of your problem is why you feel like you at 45K can't write the book. I think that's the answer somewhere. All right, let's see. Okay, some words are coming in here. Actually, no, not yet. Seeing. Oh, okay. I do see an answer here. The more I write it, the more I realize how little I know of morality, free will, God, and religion, the subjects discussed in my novel, and I don't want to sound like an idiot. Well, I have a simple answer for you then. So it is fear. It sounds like it's fear to me. Yeah, I mean, I've written novels where I was like, oh, I don't know if I know enough about this to feel like an expert. Here's what you can do. All right. First things first, keep writing the novel. Get the novel done. And then here's what I would do. I would, you can engage in beta readers if you want. I mean, if you want to go that route, that's probably a smart idea in this case, but just make sure you're not writing by committee. But what you could do is, I mean, if you feel like you don't know enough about God and religion, go to a site like Upwork and then hire somebody who has a PhD in philosophy. All right. And pay them like $100 to read your book and give you their opinions, and let them fill in the blanks on things that you miss. Because really, you're not, when you're writing a novel, you're not looking to be like an expert in these things, right? Like, you don't have to be a PhD in philosophy or religion or, seminary to understand all that. But you want to come across as if, you want to come across with some credibility and authority, right? And you just want, you want verisimilitude. That's the word I'm kind of looking for, right? It's the semblance of, subject matter expertise. And as a writer, that's one of the great shortcuts, is that you don't have to know everything. You just have to know enough to make it feel like it's real. And so hire an expert, have them look at it and have them pose some questions back to you that maybe you can answer. And, maybe there's something there that you can tweak and fix. Or maybe what you'll find is that you're actually doing a really good job, and it's just that 11th hour fear, butterflies in your stomach that are kind of hitting. I don't know if anything I've said has been helpful, but I wish you luck. Let's see. Okay. Never going to publish it, mainly for myself. All right. So yeah, I mean, if you're not going to publish it and you're doing it for yourself, I mean, I wouldn't hold yourself back at this point. All right. Let's see what else is coming in. Okay, Pierre Andre. In a story where people are anthropomorphic animals, should I refer to them as boy, girl, or male, female? If they're your main characters, I think male, female is a little awkward. I would just refer to them as he or she. I don't. There really is no. I guess Um, yeah, I guess you have to decide if you're describing them in narrative, right? Like, a female dog came by or something like that. I mean, yeah, I guess maybe male or female is a little bit better. It just sounds a little scientific to me. Um, I would just treat them the same as if they're humans, So maybe you do say like a female jackal came walking by. Maybe that's a little bit better. I'll go back on my original comment on that. The key is you just don't want readers to say, "Huh, that sounds weird," right? So just make it organic, make it feel good. Let's see. All right, Akeem, first timer. All right, welcome, Akeem. Next Power Hour, we usually do these first Saturday of every month. January is an exception. We'll do it the second January, or second Saturday in January. All right. Let's see, Tim. My challenge with the story I'm working on is how to describe an alien species while maintaining their mysterious otherworldly quality. Yeah, that's definitely a challenge. I I guess if it were me, I actually that's one of the few things I have not written about. I have not actually written. Actually, no, I take that back. I have written. I do have a series where I wrote about some aliens. Yeah, I'm just kind of brainstorming like how you maybe could do that. I mean, I think what you could do is describe the aliens, but maybe limit their screen time until. I'm thinking of, this is maybe not the best example, but I'm thinking of the movie Signs, the M. Night Shyamalan movie, where you kind of get glimpses of the aliens and you kind of know what they look like a little bit, but it's kind of terrifying, and you really don't get to you don't see them in their full glory until like near the end. Maybe limiting the screen time is a way to do that. All right. What are you writing about? I am writing book 4 in my Good Necromancer urban fantasy series. So it's a series about a ex-necromancer who got into necromancy in order to save his dying wife from cancer. It backfired on him. His whole family got killed, and he feels extreme remorse. And so he got out of the game, and he gets dragged back into the game and decides to use his powers of necromancy for good. And that is kind of the tagline of the series. And I'm working on book 4. I don't know what it's going to be called yet. The tentative title is Mortal Terms. But yeah, we'll see. All right, let's see. All right, TextVet Jeb, Jonathan, 545 words for 650 total. Very nice work. All right, let's see. Nicholas, 1101, including the edit. Very nice. Emmett Fitzhume, 500. Retha, 345, 715 in total. Gussie, 665. Joined a little late, but that's okay. Welcome aboard. All right, Ty, 225. Vampbat, 304. Title, 341. All right. Wyland, total count is 420. And now thinking about what's next. That's a good place to be. It's a little intimidating sometimes when you do that, but it's a good place to be. All right, Ty, 225, but 610 for the day. And let's see. If you were to write a superhero, what kind of hero would you write? That's a really good question. I don't know. I have to think about that. Yeah, actually, no, I take that back. I did write I created a superhero in a short story I'm writing, and this hero can control the weather. More specifically, he can control the clouds. So that's a short story that I would write. I need to finish that short story, but I'm just not in a short story mood. I really want to finish this short story. It might have become a series, but I don't know that the content is there yet. But yeah, it's kind of an interesting concept. So yeah, it would definitely control the weather, a la Storm from X-Men. All right. Let's see. Okay, up, down, 200 words, 1,000 total. Very, very nice. Human, 863 today. Very, very nice. I'm seeing some great numbers, everybody. 458. Stephanie, Glad you're able to join us and not under the, your power didn't go out. 645, 1758 for the power hour, 2,000 to 3,000 words a day on writing days. Yeah, I mean, those are rock solid numbers. I mean, if you're doing that day in and day out, oh man, oh man, just at the end of 1 year, you just be amazed at what you can do. But you're living it, so good for you. All right. Okay, PCVRS. I need help how to finish my book, but I don't know how I'll get there. I have a book that could help you. It's called How to Write Your First Novel. So check it out, authorlevelup.com/first novel. There's a lot of tips in that book that I think you'll find helpful. All right, so I can't read all the numbers at this point, but everyone is doing great. Everyone's doing great. Carrie had 2 right on asking experts for advice. I do tech consultancy for local indie authors, and there's no judgment. Yeah, I mean, that's the beautiful thing about this is that all the knowledge you want is out there at your fingertips. You just have to ask for it. And in the age of the internet, there's kind of no excuse not to reach out sometimes. All right. Okay, let's see. VampBat, how many words should a chapter be on average? As many words as it needs to be. I would argue that chapter length is less important than chapter content. So a chapter that's 500 words that is too long and doesn't really accomplish anything, I don't think is worth having a short chapter for that. I'll take a 500-word chapter that has a solid opening and a cliffhanger at the end of the chapter over a 2,000-word chapter. I think it's a misconception and a myth. People think their chapters need to be really, really long, and it's just not true. I mean, if you look at like a mega bestseller, like I was just reading one of the Odd Thomas books by Dean Koontz. If you look at his chapters, most of the chapters are like 1,500, 2,000 words tops, and the chapters that are under that, Dean Koontz can do more in 1,000 words than many of us can do in like 5. And that's just the truth. So short, don't let the length bother you. It's way more important on what you're doing in the chapters. My chapters are trending shorter now, just because of some things I'm learning from mega bestsellers. Most of my chapters are somewhere between 500 and usually 2,000 words. All right, let's see. Okay, Wylan, what are your thoughts on having books connected via shared earth or universe, not directly a spinoff? I think it's a smart idea. Like if you can do it and you can do it in a way that makes sense, and you're like you commit to it. Oh, I think it's a great idea, because then because what I do, like what I'm doing is I just write independent series. Like I come up with an idea, I follow it to its logical conclusions, I publish it, and then I move on. But none of my books or my series, like for fiction, are connected. If you could do that same thing, but in the same universe, like say you write series A and no one buys it, or, it doesn't sell very much. But then you write series B and more people buy it. Well, because series A is connected, more people are probably going to be interested in series A. Maybe they weren't interested in the beginning. And so I think it's a great marketing opportunity and strategy if you can do that. All right. My problem is that I tend to be a nomad. I tend to wander. But yeah, I think it's a very smart idea if you do it, and then add on branded covers to that. Oh, branded covers that all look consistent. I mean, that's one of the reasons Michael Anderle is so prominent. I mean, that's exactly what he does, and it's a really smart strategy. All right, Dominique, thank you very much. Thanks for your work on the channel. I appreciate it. Human, yeah, Yahoo or Signs is awesome. Yeah, Signs, one of his best, one of M. Night Shyamalan's best movies. I don't know that it got better from there. Let's see. All right, let's see here. Would you ever write a realistic novel or literary fiction? Probably not. Well, I have. Actually, I have. Literary fiction, probably not. I think those days are gone for me. I'm just more interested in the commercial side. Realistic fiction, yeah. I mean, the short stories I tend to write tend to be realistic. So like if you look at I have a short story collection called Reconciled People. All those stories are real everyday people. Like there's maybe one or two stories that have a little bit of magic in them, but for the most part, they're just everyday people living their lives. And I enjoy that. And that's typically what I do with my short stories. I find that I have a harder, I don't know why, and maybe it's just it's a mental block. I know it is. I just have a harder time writing sci-fi and fantasy short stories than I do novels, and that's something I need to figure out, But it's just kind of where I am right now. Okay, let's see. PCVRS, when will my book 4 of Good Necromancer be released? Well, I'm trying to finish it this month. Books 1 through 3 are already available, so you can check those out. Just look for The Good Necromancer. I will probably, I'd like to try to maybe get this published in January, but we'll see. It's going to depend on my cover designer. All right, Wyland says, I would love to see a Michael Laurent superhero story. I feel like you'd add something truly unique. Yeah, I'm not... I would like to write one. I think I need to study that genre a little bit more. I'm not very well versed in superhero fiction. Comics, yeah, I'm pretty well versed, but fiction, I need to understand that. Okay, let's see here. A lot of discussions going on around naming male and female anthropomorphic characters. So glad to see that happening. All right, yeah, TextVet Jeb, the Odd Thomas series was great. Yeah, I really liked it. Really liked it. And it's funny because the first few books I read by Dean Koontz, I could not stand. Like I read Watchers and I could not stand it. And everyone's like, "Why? It was a great book," and I couldn't stand it. Maybe if I reread it again, I would like it. But my first impression of Dean Koontz was not positive. But then I read Odd Thomas and I was on board. I was 100% on board. Yeah, Emmett Fitzhume, Koontz is a master. He is definitely a master. Yeah, and he doesn't get his props. Like people will like if you say James Patterson, people will nod their heads ceremoniously. You say Nora Roberts, people say yeah, she's awesome. You talk about Michael Crichton, people will rip on him a little bit, but I think almost everyone agrees he was a hell of a writer. But Dean Koontz, he just never gets brought up in the comic. He's kind of like the redheaded stepchild of mega bestsellers. And yet, like, he's more prolific than many of them. Like, I shared an article on Dean Koontz I think it was a few weeks ago. It was an article like in 2001 where he was talking about being prolific, and it's really, really good stuff. So, all right, let's see. PCVRS, if I were to write the multiverse or parallel universe, how would I do it? Just make sure you're keeping everything consistent and make sure you understand what the details are. That's, I think, the biggest problem. I've never written a parallel. I think I've written one parallel universe story, but I haven't written a multiverse universe story. And I think your biggest problem there is just the scope. So you have to be careful and making sure that you're writing down your details as you go and that your details are consistent, especially if you're in multiple universes. Because, if you're in multiple universes, things can change from one universe to the other, and you gotta kind of have to keep track of which universe your characters are in. So you gotta have to be careful there, but definitely can be done. All right. Yeah, thank you. I'd been wondering if Ratshifter Dreamborn and Good Necromancer were connected at all. I almost connected Dreamborn in the Good Necromancer. I kind of played around with having Lester be like an uncle or something of Aisha in the Magic Tracker series, but I did not do that. All right. Let's see. Do you have an idea of the cover you want for your books, or is it up to your maker entirely? No, I usually have an idea of what I want. I will usually send a Pinterest board of comparable covers to my designer, and then that way the designer has an idea of what I'm looking for. And I usually only design covers based on what has happened in the first chapter, or maybe even the first few pages. Beyond that, I just leave it up to the designer. But Yeah, you have to be careful about giving your designer too much direction. That's a trap I've fallen into in the past. You want to give them just enough to design a cover that's comparable to other books in your genre, but not too much that you confuse them. So like with the Good Neck, I'll give you an example. So like right now I have my Good Necromancer series. I know I'm talking about it a lot, but I'm going to be redoing the covers for that series because I think the covers are not bad by any means, but I don't think they're as effective as they could be. So I'm going to go the illustration route, and I'm actually going to have the character illustrated. Problem I have, I write books with characters of color, and it's very difficult to find stock art with black people. It just, it's better than it was like 5 years ago. But man, if you want to put a black person on a book cover, it's like impossible. And all the models are the same. So like I've been having to go the illustration route for this. And so I think I'm going to go the illustration route. And so I have to walk a fine line and kind of telling them what Lester, my main character, looks like, knowing that this is not really art. It's, it exists to signal to readers what the genre is. So like I'm going to say, he is a late 40s African-American male. He's wearing, I don't know what I'm going to have him wear. And this is another mistake I made in the series. And I wouldn't say it's a mistake, but Lester wears a gabardine throughout the series. And that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not going to change that. But if you put a character in a gabardine on a cover in urban fantasy, it is almost always a detective novel. So I cannot have him wear a gabardine because it's not a detective novel. So like stuff like it's stuff like that you have to think about when you're writing. You're writing your brief to your designer, less than what the character's doing on the cover. So super long, rambly answer, but hope there's something there. All right. Let's see. Oh yeah. Wyland, thank you. I do have some videos on cover design if people are interested in that. Okay. Let's see. Wyland, Dean Koontz over Stephen King. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I like Stephen King, but I like Dean Koontz better. But yeah, they are both some of the best storytellers we have in the English language. That is the truth. A Line in the Winter. Is starting your novel with a flashback a really bad idea? No, it's not. I've done it. I've written a book that starts with a flashback. The key is the fundamentals. Like people say, don't start a book with a flashback. Don't start a book with dialogue. None of that is really accurate. What matters is the execution. You can start your novel any way you want to start it as long as you execute it. So if I were going to start with a flashback, the key is to make the reader feel like they're in the flashback, right? Instead of just telling them what happened, make them feel like they're there. So start and ground the reader in the five senses, and assuming the flashback is probably something traumatic, right? Because that's usually how they start. Make the reader feel as if they're there. Make them feel that immediacy. And you do that with the five senses. You do that with pacing and paragraphing. And then you also do it by not overstaying your welcome. So, I probably wouldn't put, 12 pages of flashbacks in your first chapter, but is there a way you could do it and economize it so that you can do it within 500 to maybe 1,000 words and then cut to the current day? Readers really only have they have small attention spans. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but the attention span, you have to think about that. That's something I'm going to write a book about probably. All right. But yeah, there's no rule. No one's going to come to your house and shoot you because you start a book with a flashback, is what I'm trying to say. It's all about execution. PCVRS, any thoughts on Rick Riordan? I have not read the Percy Jackson series. It's on my list, but I would say he's just as good a storyteller as any of them. There's a reason people love his books, and whether you like them or not, if that's the book that you want to write, then I think he's worth studying. Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, regarding Koontz, it's the horror genre. There's a lot of prejudice against those writers. Yeah, you may be onto something about that. Let's see. Will The Good Necromancer become a TV show? You're playing with my dreams here. Yeah, sure, I would love for it to be a TV show. If anything, I would have Clark Peters play Lester, but I don't think that's going to happen. Okay. Ty says, can't wait to see the new covers. Thinking of changing mine when the series is done. Next time I will complete the series and then make the covers. Yeah, that's a smart way to do it if you have the patience and stamina to do that, to be able to write an entire series and then do the packaging. Not for the faint of heart, but if you can do it, more power to you. Okay, Ulkesh, do you know if there's a shortage of cover models for Asians? Probably. This is another I don't know what you call it, a hobby horse or soapbox or something that I have. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the cost of cover designs have gone up, and they have gone up within the last few months. This is something I've been talking about since 2018. You know, if you wanted a book cover in 2014, you know, the average cost of a cover, you know, it kind of varied, but the average cost of a cover was somewhere around $400, maybe $500. You could often get something done cheaper than that. In 2018, I noticed that the average cost of cover design went up again. So it went up from like $400 to $500 to like $500 to $600. Now with the pandemic and everything, inflation and all that, I mean, there are cover designers who I used to work with who were charging like $200 to $300 for a cover design, who are now charging like $1,000. You know, it's kind of scary, but that's not related to your question. Is there a shortage of cover models, you know, for Asians? You know, I would think that Asians are probably in the same boat as Black people. You know, it's and it just is what it is. You know, it's hard to find the model you're looking for if that model is a person of color. And like I said, it's gotten better, but it's still not there yet. And so if you're having that problem, I think the answer is probably to go illustration, because then you don't have to worry about it. Then you can have the illustrator illustrate whoever you want, but you will pay more money for it. Okay. All right. On Writing was the first writing book I ever bought for myself. It's a great book, even though I no longer fully agree with the advice. Yeah, there's some good stuff in On Writing, though. Let's see. What is the best way to execute starting a novel with a dream, meaning both the character and reader do not yet know they are in a dream? So question on that. I think you may want to just be upfront and let the reader know that they're in a dream. Maybe the character doesn't know they're in a dream, but the reader knows. And the only reason I say that is because that's typically how like your mega bestsellers would do it. Like they don't try to withdraw the fact that you're in a dream. You know, they tell the reader that the character's in a dream, but the character doesn't know they're in a dream. And so then that, you know, because if you don't execute properly, what can end up happening is you write the scene and then the reader realizes they're in a dream and the character realizes they're in a dream and the reader says, no, that I don't agree with that. That's BS, right? You don't want them putting the book down. So if you tell them it's a dream and then you do some funky stuff, maybe you can have some success there. Let's see. Bought a pre-made cover in October for $70. Yeah, there are still designers that are pretty affordable, but my problem or the issue that I'm pointing out is that there are fewer good designers that are available at affordable rates. And I don't see the number of designers coming into the business at a very high number. There's a lot of cover designers out there, but the number of good designers is very small, and that's the problem. Let's see. Yeah, Tim says eventually realistic CG will be accessible to the average person and might replace actual models. Yeah, I think artificial intelligence can help with that too. because you can use artificial intelligence to create a face or an image that's never been created before. And I think that that can solve the problem of shortages of not just people of color, but just being able to find a model in the pose that you want. That's also a problem. All right. Well, thank you for those of you who have to bounce, and thank you for those who left super chats. I really appreciated that. And don't forget, everybody, I've got my Beast Mode collection, authorlevelup.com/beast mode. Use the code THANKYOU, all caps, coupon code THANKYOU, to get 30% off of that and any other book that is in my catalog. I said I would talk about my goals, so I'll hit that real quick, and then I'll wrap up if there's any additional questions. So 2021 was a pretty good year for me. I was able to get a lot done. I kind of finished my law degree, and I'm in a better spot time-wise where I don't feel like I'm so stretched. Like I was really stretched thin at the beginning of this year. And I started a new job too, so that was kind of crazy, but things have kind of settled down now. And so 2022, I hope will be, a stable year for me. As far as my goals, I've kind of condensed my strategy down. My goals for 2022 really are just to keep focusing on the fundamentals. Like I'm not making any radical shifts. So I used to have 5 pillars of my author strategy. It used to be I was focused on becoming a world-class content creator, becoming a world-class marketer, becoming a technology and data-driven writer, so there are 2, and then becoming the writer of the future. And I've done a lot. I've invested a lot of money and time into technology and productivity to the point where I'm able to do a lot of things with automation, to the point where I can save myself a lot of time. And so when I think about 2022, I'm focused on how can I continue to write the best stories that I can, and then how can I continue to use technology and data to help me eliminate things that I really don't want to do, or takes those things that I don't want to do and do them faster, and be able to do them with that assistance. So that's kind of what I'm focusing on. And I don't think this will be a project in 2022. It probably should be, but I really do need to redo my author websites. But one of the things that I've been that's stopped me from doing that is the fact that I have over 70 books and each book has a sales page, and I'd have to redo that sales page for each of those 70 books. So I think I've figured out a way to automate that to where a developer can basically create one book, and then using automation can create all of my sales pages based on an Excel file that I give them. So we will see. We'll see about that. But yeah, technology I think is important because there's a lot of things in the writing life that are manual. And anything you can do to reduce the amount of time that you're spending on a lot of the administrative and markety stuff as a writer and spend more time writing, that's ultimately going to make you more money at the end of the day. And so that's what I'm focused on. I'm focused on trying to create a writing business that is so technology driven that it almost runs itself. That's my goal, and I'm able to do that as a part-time writer, so that, one day if I ever become a full-time writer, I've got all that in place and I can spend more time writing and doing the things that are important to me. But yeah, I'm also writing a book now, or I'm researching a book. Once I finish my Good Necromancer series, my next book is going to be a book on estate planning for authors. So I'm going to explore what happens when you die as an author. Like what happens to your books, what happens to everything that you've built, to maybe help, certainly help myself plan better as a writer, but also to maybe help some other people with this, because this is like a huge, ugly topic that there's really very few books on. And so I want to try to talk about that. Okay. All right. Well, thank you everyone who's bringing in the kind words. I appreciate that. And I certainly have appreciated all of you sticking with me and attending these power hours, because they're a way to get things done. And I appreciate it. Let's see. Let's see. Um, do you have a time goal for when you want to be a full-time author? I don't. I don't have a time goal, and the reason I don't have a time goal is because that would add a lot more stress to my life. I'm just having fun, and I'm doing things that don't necessarily bring in income. I'm doing them because I learn a lot. I'm not like I try not to be like I'm not mercenary about sales. That's why I don't beat you guys over the head with sales. I mean, yeah, I have my beast mode collection, but many of you have been asking for that, and that's something I did last year that everyone liked. But yeah, I'm not crazy about got to be gung ho on sales. I just try to write the books that are fun for me, and I do the best I can with the marketing and the packaging. And every book teaches me something, and I just use that knowledge and go to the next thing. And yeah, there's some things I hit on that are more commercially successful than others, but I'm not like that's not my focus. I'm more focused on learning and getting all my fundamentals in order and getting to the point where maybe someday I can be a really really good writer, um, and maybe join the ranks of a Dean Koontz or Stephen King. I mean, that would be pretty cool. I think that's the dream. But you don't get there without a lot of commitment and focus and discipline. And so I focus on that. I focus what I can control. So if it happens, uh, I'm going to embrace it with all full force of my being. But I'm not gonna force it. I'm not gonna try to rush it. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, Miss Swift, I would love a book on estate planning for authors. Yeah, there's another author that does a really good book on this, M.L. Buckman. I think it's called Estate Planning for Authors. So he wrote a good book on that, and that got me thinking about how disorganized I'm very productive and I get a lot accomplished. I'm not always the most organized though, and so over the past 3 or 4 months, I've been going through my platform and trying to get organized. So I've gone through all my books, republished many of them with updated interiors and refreshed some covers and things like that. And I just want to make sure that I don't leave a mess um, in the event of an untimely death for my family to manage. And so I think that that's important because I've read some horror stories about um, things that can happen that you don't think about that can cause problems for your heirs. All right. Let's see. Emmett Fitzhume, are you enjoying being an attorney? I am not an attorney. I'm not an attorney. I went to law school, but I'm not an attorney. And I'm enjoying not being an attorney. All right. Okay. Well, everybody, this has been great. And it's hard to believe that we're at the end of 2021. Thank you all for attending these power hours this year. We're going to keep them going in 2022. The next power hour will be Saturday, January 8th at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. And I will certainly let everybody know closer to the date when we're going to go live. And I hope that you have a happy holiday season with your families. And even though we're all kind of rushing at the end of the year to get things done, take some time to relax, spend some time with your family, and get the writing time in. But it's not the end of the world if you don't get a whole lot of writing done in the last half of December. And just keep things in perspective on what's important. But I do hope that you hit your goals, and I hope that you have a good holiday season and you're able to kind of hit the ground running in January and figure out what you want to do. All right. So thank you, everyone, for the kind words in the comments. I wish I could read them all. I can't, but certainly, I'll be back. And I still do my daily posts on YouTube. So my community tab. And then also you can subscribe to my blog if you want to do that. I'll be posting about everything. And I've got some really, really exciting stuff planned in 2022, including I'm going to be going to some in-person writers conferences. I can't say which ones yet. But if any of you are going to be out and about, I would love to meet some of you in person. All right. So take care, everybody. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. And I'll see you next year.